Towards food sufficiency, Central Bank of Nigeria activates Anchor Borrowers Intervention Program with over 15 billion naira for rice cultivation. Federal government challenges Nigerian students in ivory towers on multi-skills on all aspects of the economy. Plus, Nigeria partners China to improve legislative process through inter-parliamentary relations. Hello, welcome to NTA International News with me, Nancy Godi Angonihu. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has challenged Nigerian students on multi-skilling in all aspects of the economy to enable them to achieve their dreams after school. The Vice President threw the challenge while speaking at the 4th convocation ceremony of Afeba Balola University in Ekiti State.
One today must learn to be a man or woman of affairs, a versatile operator, not a mono-skilled graduate. There are many opportunities and practically anything can be learned online. And whatever you choose to do, be technology savvy and understand its best uses in your chosen discipline. The exciting thing is that everyone, whether you're a science student or you're an art student or a management science student, whatever it is that you're doing, there is a market, a huge market, but it's a multidisciplinary market. We need more hours of training, more hours of research. Good innovation requires research and training and hard work. Talent is nothing if you are not diligent.
That was Vice President Yemi Osinbajo speaking to students at Afeba Balola University convocation. For Nigeria to move forward economically, the science and technology sector must be motivated, re-energized, and properly funded. This session resulted from the conversation between Minister of Science and Technology and Senate Committee members on Science and Technology led by its chairman, Professor Ajayi Boroface, on oversight function. Science and correspondent Kiran Umayo reports.
Classified as a live ministry, which cuts across other ministries, the senators are worried about how the Ministry of Science and Technology and its agencies have been perceived, which led to its neglect by previous administrations in the country. Chairman of the committee, Professor Ajayi Boroface, noted that the political will of a nation to lay emphasis on science and technology determines the level of development of the nation.
Now I can see indications of progress in this ministry. I want to assure you, Honorable Minister, that we are solidly in support of your efforts to re-engineer the Ministry of Science and Technology for the development of our nation.
Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Obonia Onu, told the committee members that the ministry is working harmoniously with research institutes, industries, agencies under the ministry, the private sector, and state government for effective deployment of research results to the development of the nation.
We are also working closely with state governments to ensure that whatever we do here, that the various state governments are aware and they can take advantage of the research findings that the research institutes and agencies of this ministry generate.
The Senate Committee on Science and Technology were at the ministry to assess its performance, challenges, and prospects. Kiran Umayo, NTA News.
Nigeria and China are to improve their legislative process through inter-parliamentary relations. As part of measures to actualize this, the Nigeria-China Inter-Parliamentary Group in the House of Representatives visited the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Zhu Pingjian. The parties agreed to strengthen partnership in the areas of education, tourism, commerce, and agriculture.
And we are also very much conscious of the fact that this relationship has yielded a lot of fruits because between Nigeria and China is over 2.9 trillion naira. This is more than 1/3 of our annual budget.
In Abuja, CDC has already set up an agribusiness demonstration center.
China-Nigeria Group is one of the several inter-parliamentary groups in the House of Representatives. And Nigeria is to be self-sufficient in rice production before the end of 2017. Minister of Agriculture, Auduobe, who based his optimism on the CBN 15.7 billion naira anchor borrowers intervention program to boost rice cultivation, was speaking in Anambra State during the inspection of one of the benefiting rice farms. Correspondent Cliff Ayoze reports.
Harvesting in progress to meet 2019 presidential self-sufficiency target in rice production. With 26 states indicating interest in rice cultivation, the Central Bank of Nigeria has already committed 15.77 billion naira from 2014 through its Anchor Borrowers program. Coast-cherished farms sitting on a 2,600 hectares of land in Anaku, Anambra State, is a beneficiary of 2 billion naira from the CBN fund. Within 2 years, the mechanized rice farm is already drawing attention. Agriculture Minister Auduobe on tour says a silent revolution is going on in agriculture and the end is in sight for importation of rice.
I've seen a similar thing in Kebbi. We're seeing this big one, and I'm very proud of Koscheris and the effort the governor is making to support him. In another year, we shall have no need to import 1 grain of rice into this country.
We started from 80,000 metric tons 2 years ago. It's an initiative, and we are really expanding.
Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says the Epes Bank is motivated to intervening because of his strong belief in what Nigerians could do given the right financial support and enabling environment.
He needs irrigation, he needs his mill. And I'm happy to say, only yesterday, the Committee of Governors of Central Bank of Nigeria gave approval for him to set up a mill here and also set up his irrigation. That is the kind of support we will give to people who show interest.
With 8 climatic conditions, it's a shame that we spend $3 billion, $4 billion US dollars to import food, to import rice into this country.
The firm has potential to employ about 3,000 Nigerians in due course. From Anako in Anyamelu local government area of Anambra State, Cliff Ayoze, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the 2016 wet farming season has been described as successful and favorable, considering the reported bumper harvest recorded by farmers nationwide. Officials of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture attributed the success to good climate condition for crop production. Musa Baba Aliyu reports that the development has boosted the national food security and the socio-economic well-being of farmers.
The 2016 rainy season set in late and ceased early in most places, especially in northern states, as predicted by the Nigeria Meteorological Agency. Investigations revealed that over 60 million farmers in Nigeria took advantage of the raining period and planted their crops. The farmers say, despite the high cost of inputs this year, they are encouraged to produce more food to support the diversification policy of the federal government.
Federal government to supply us with fertilizer on time. Yes, we need it before rainy season, before the rain comes.
The major crops planted this year are rice, maize, millet, guinea corn, soybeans, and vegetables.
I can produce like 200 bags of rice.
Hajia Salama Kabiru, a major rice and wheat farmer in Katsina State, on her part, said this is the first time in about 10 years she had a bumper harvest. We had a good harvest this year, and the prices of the produce is really favoring us, she said. With this success, the International Fund for Agriculture Development, IFAD, is building the capacity of rural farmers in areas of financial literacy and investment to further enhance their socio-economic well-being.
Financially excluded communities, we wanted them to have access to rural finance, to credit services. And we developed a program, the Rural Business Plan.
Fishermen are not exempted from the value chain program. Apart from teaching them how to fish without the use of chemicals, they are also being equipped. From Katsina, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Thank you, Musa. For Nigeria to stop losing about 1 million children annually and over 56 women during childbirth due to ineffective and inefficient primary healthcare service, it has to increase its health sector funding to enhance primary healthcare delivery that caters for about 70% of its citizens. This was played up at the workshop on increasing health sector budgeting. Health correspondent Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju reports.
Noting the gradual exit of donor funds to the health sector from 2016, observers say government should take ownership of areas covered by donor agencies, as well as implement the provisions of the National Health Act that mandates the provision of at least not less than 1% of the Consolidated Revenue Fund to the Basic Healthcare Fund to enhance healthcare delivery, particularly in the rural areas.
We believe there is a continuous need for the government of Nigeria through the Federal Ministry of Health and the Federal Ministry of Budget and National Planning to engage with relevant civil society organizations working in the health sector to serve as the people's voice during the full spectrum of the budget process.
It should be a draft. A stakeholder analysis should be done. And in that stakeholder analysis, you identify people based on the inputs they can make. They are sure that we have what people want. At the end of the day is that the Nigerian people are getting the health they need.
Public-private partnership is advocated with transparency and efficient supervision so as not to price public health facilities beyond the reach of the common man.
Civil society should be involved in the medium-term sector strategy, which then informs the medium-term expenditure framework from which the operating annual budget for the country in the health sector and the other sectors are drawn.
The workshop is at the instance of the Federal Ministry of Health in collaboration with PACFA. Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju, NTA News.
For Nigeria's equities market sentiment analysis and other stories in the financial sector, here is Ade Ao.
Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's equities market closed Friday on a negative note as Nigerian Stock Exchange All-Share Index depreciated by 0.01% to close at 27,596.82 basis points compared to 0.28% depreciation recorded previously. Here is a rundown of the closing figures and prices of commodities on the Nigerian Commodity Exchange market. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe has paid off its 16-year debt to the International Monetary Fund as part of its arrears clearance strategy with the multilateral institution. The institution's Director of Communications, Gary Rice, on Friday said Zimbabwe settled its financial obligations amounting to $107.9 million. That does it on Business News. The rest of the news continues. I am Ede Avo.
You're watching the news from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Still to come, more reports from our foreign and sports desk.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogerula. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
international news. Africa as it is.
Thank you for staying with us. NTA Director General has described the 2016 AfriCast as a success, saying that NTA will take advantage of some modern equipment to further strengthen its stations for high-definition signals and the transmission of programs. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
The three-day biennial event ended with exhibitors disconnecting and dismantling their stands.
For 3 days, these exhibitors have been showcasing their equipment, and even content providers are not left behind.
The NTA, probably more than any other broadcaster, shows how public service broadcasters can stay apace and stay ahead of technology.
Luisa Finetti is in Nigeria for the first time.
My experience was very positive because the market is a growing market, so we hope to have a very good business for the future. But Nigerian people are so kind, so polite, so I really like them so much.
Broadcast equipment distributor Jihad Anzie wants more African broadcast equipment manufacturers to participate in subsequent Africa's
country to attend the exhibition, so to be more business for Nigeria.
Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, who is the chairman Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, says AfriCast has repositioned NTA for improved quality signal contents.
You can't come to a place like this and go, without seeing something new. AfriCast is an exhibition avenue for manufacturers, content providers, and so on and so forth. Of course, when you have such a gathering of eminent manufacturers and providers of content, you are bound to see something new. Yes, I've seen something new.
AfriCast is an initiative National Broadcasting Commission, NBC. In Abuja, Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
And the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, emerged the best partner in progress of the 2016 AfriCast. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday here again reports that Executive Director Marketing of NTA, Nike Onifade, received the award of the Gala Night in honor of the creators of the just concluded AfriCast 2016.
After a three-day work, business session, and exhibitions, organizers and participants converged to unwind. AfriCast 2016, which many say was a success, made way for several categories of awards for content providers, equipment manufacturers, signal distributors, with NTA, the largest TV network in Africa, as the best partner in progress.
And we have always set the pace in broadcasting in Nigeria and even beyond, and we'll continue to do that. We are the first.
In Abuja, Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
A non-governmental organization, the Africa Support and Empowerment Initiative, AfriSay, has denied allegations of franchise infringement leveled against it by the Bring Back Our Girls group. A statement jointly signed by the organization's president, Hadiza Buhari Bello, daughter of President Muhammadu Buhari, and the secretary, Don Uche, says AfriSay is a responsible body that will never engage in illegal activities such as stealing someone else's franchise. The statement adds that while the Bring Back Our Girls group sustains awareness about the plight of the kidnapped Chibok schoolgirls, AfriSay is assisting Chibok and other devastated communities through skills acquisition for the youth and the less privileged. The creative exploration and innovative application of the nation's cultural resources and knowledge has been identified as a measure capable of redeeming Nigeria from the current economic and socio-political challenges. This was the focus at the 4th annual conference of the Nigeria Oral Literature Association in Abuja. Tessie Justin Bisson has details.
As efforts intensify towards diversifying the nation's economy, the tourism sector through traditional festivals, historical sites and monuments, traditional sports, as well as artifacts, is being promoted to preserve Nigeria's cultural heritage and attract foreign investors. with the theme Orality, New Media and Creative Industries. Scholars in cultural studies are determined to challenge prevailing policies and ideological inclinations. Professor Mobolanle Santusa stressed the need to explore creative and cultural industries.
We can actually commercialize, the sharing of these cultural artifacts, for entertainment, for education, for performance. All of these things can be commercialized.
President of the association, Professor Godini Dara, criticized infiltration into the Nigerian society and stressed the need for Nigerians to serve as agents of change and transformation.
The power that moves the whole world from ancient time to now is intellect. Once you give a cultural item intellectual recognition, it assumes a new dimension.
Tessie Justin Bisong, NTA News.
Let's join Adebola Brookslyn Sunday for news around the globe.
South Africa has begun the process of withdrawing from the International Criminal Courts. South Africa says it has found that its obligation with respect to the peaceful resolution of conflicts sometimes are incompatible with the interpretation given by the courts. Despite 34 African nations voluntarily signing up to the court's jurisdiction in recent years, a handful of governments have decided their idea of international justice is not in line with several decisions of the courts. And Egypt has decided a cutoff up to 20% in government expenditure, a move its prime minister says is needed to set example to follow during a biting economic crisis. A cabinet statement issued on Thursday says the government has decreed a 50% cut in the number of ministerial representatives in Egyptian embassies. Says ministers will take up the tasks instead. Egypt's economy is enduring its worst crisis in decades, with huge domestic and foreign debts. Meanwhile, the European Union has called for greater efforts to apply the leverage of trade and development with Africa in order to curb migrants' departures to Europe and speed up the return of those who arrive. The EU has been turning its sights on the central Mediterranean routes from Libya to Italy, which has dramatically slowed the number of migrants landing in Greece, the main entry points to Europe last year. Adebola, Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
In time for sports, President Muhammadu Buhari's maiden open swimming championship set to begin November 10 in Uyo as lower-tier football club owners and managers appeal for shifting date for Federation Cup final. Ayodeji Makinde tells us more.
The forthcoming maiden President Muhammadu Buhari Open Swimming Championship, which is billed to kick off in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, November 10, has been described as an avenue to further promote national unity through sports. This was the submission of stakeholders in Abuja Thursday at the presentation of the trophies for the competition to the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Solomon Dalun, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Chinyaka Oha. An appeal has been made to the Nigeria Football Federation to shift the finals of the Federation Cup by 1 week to enable the completion of all league matches for the season. Chairman of Club Owners and Managers Committee, who made the appeal in Abuja Thursday, also noted that the absence of properly constituted boards for the three leagues affected the quality of the 2015-2016 Football League season.
The chairman called on the NFF to, as matter of urgency, constitute or have election conducted into the boards of the three leagues.
Jose Mourinho returns to Stamford Bridge to face his former club as Chelsea hosts Manchester United Sunday in Week 9 of the English Premier League, and Southampton travel to Manchester City. Meanwhile, the Arsenal